We knew it was coming, but it is still pretty shocking to see it happen. Robert Jenrick, Honest Bob Jenrick, has attacked the values and lifestyles of small boat refugees, claiming that they would threaten UK's social cohesion.
Put simply, excessive, uncontrolled migration threatens to cannibalise the compassion that marks out the British people. And those crossing tend to have completely different lifestyles and values to those in the UK, and tend to settle in already hyper-diverse areas, undermining the cultural cohesiveness that binds diverse groups together and makes our proud multi-ethnic democracy so successful. The current numbers of people arriving here illegally surpass any reasonable numbers that the state could be expected to provide for or integrate successfully into our national community. And it is for the most disadvantaged in our society that feel this most acutely. It should come as no surprise, therefore, that it is the Conservative Party that is providing the answers to the illegal migration challenge.
I mean, where do you even begin? It's not illegal, of course, to seek asylum or indeed to make your way into this country via incredibly dangerous routes for the very simple reason that there are no safe routes. If your asylum process is rejected and you go AWOL or try to drop off the radar, then yes, you do become someone who is here illegally. What was the figure? Was it about 40,000, was it 50,000? Because the net migration figure at the moment is in excess of 500,000. So Robert Jenrick is saying that the country can easily cope with about 504,000 net new arrivals in the year ending June 2022, but it can't cope with 30 or 40,000 who've come in small boats. I'm going to play you these clips a little bit more than once, I suspect, because I think this is an important moment. And I know there'll be plenty of people, even some listening to this programme, who are lapping it up. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, you know. But maybe you can tell me what the difference is between how Robert Jenrick and Suella Braverman are talking about small boat refugees and how Joseph Goebbels used to talk about Jews. Maybe you can. Because this language about undermining our values, what are the values that Suella Braverman is referring to, do you think? What is it that she demonstrates? What values does she embody that people arriving here in small boats will somehow destroy? That's not a rhetorical question. I haven't got a clue. Remember that if someone got out of the war zone, the hellhole that is Sudan at the moment, and somehow managed to battle their way to Britain because their uncle lives here, or their aunt, or their brother, Suella Braverman wants to stick them on a plane back to Rwanda. And she dreams about it. So what are these values of which she speaks, in the sense of values that she embodies? I don't know, but here she is speaking earlier today.
Would you use a word such as cannibalise?
I think that the people coming here illegally do possess values which are at odds with our country. We are seeing heightened levels of criminality when related to the people who have come on boats, related to drug dealing, exploitation, prostitution. There are real challenges which go beyond the migration issue of people coming here illegally, and we need to ensure that we bring an end to the boat crossings.
I mean, just in terms of numbers and the meaning of words, let us unpick this. The figure for small boat arrivals in the year to June 2022 is 45,746, of which more than 25,000 are allowed to stay as refugees. Their applications have been processed and approved. So 504,000, so 500,000 people, net migration. So when you subtract the people leaving the country from the number of people arriving, you're left with 504,000 with which we can cope. Because that is, to misuse Robert Jenrick's language, legal. But we can't cope with 45,000 refugees. I don't understand the mathematics in play there, which means it's not about the mathematics, it's about the language. Why would he use the word cannibalise? And then this question here. I want you to tell me what the difference is between Joseph Goebbels talking about how Jewish-led international subhumans are against culture itself, anti-bourgeois, anti-cultural, the destruction of all economic, social, state, cultural and civilizing advances. What's the difference between that in semantic terms and a claim that refugees in small boats are going to cannibalise our compassion or threaten our values and lifestyles. It's always... You must always be sensitive when drawing comparisons with Nazism. Just ask Gary Lineker. But the point is, of course, that words are words. And that's all we're talking about here. No one is suggesting that Suella Braverman or Robert Jenrick are secretly planning a Holocaust. But words are words. And when a senior politician talks about compassion being cannibalised or values and lifestyles being undermined, I want to know what those words mean and why they are being used. 0345 6060 973 is the number you need. So just the words. Tell me, what's the difference? And of course, you're more than welcome to ring in and tell me that there is no difference. But I am interested in nuance, as ever, on this programme. I don't think there's a debate to be had about the numbers. They're just lying. If the country can, quotes, cope, end quotes, with 504,000 new arrivals, net new arrivals from overseas, then it can cope with 40-odd thousand refugees. It just can, and that's just a matter of fact. It's a matter of record. And yet there are no safe routes. So the word illegal is utterly wrong. It's a disgusting misuse that has now leached through even into BBC coverage. And I don't know, particular beef with individual colleagues that use it, but it's the wrong word to use. And yet it's become completely normal. And again, you know, it portrays a sort of subhumanness. It's an illegal. That's an illegal. Goebbels talks about international subhumans who are against culture itself. Robert Jenrick talks about people cannibalising our compassion and threatening our values and lifestyles. 034560600973. This is grim, right? And we knew it was going to happen because 30p Lee let the cat out of the bag. Can't fight an election on our record. We're going to have to go all in on culture wars and transgender issues. And, of course, they'll probably get cheered on by the same sections of the media that we spent the last hour talking about, the ones responsible for encouraging the country on this mad mission of self-harm. It's a very, very strange time. And here it is. Here's the latest. Robert Jenrick speaking inevitably to a secretly funded think tank and defending this bill that's brought in later today. Why? I'm really interested in why he's used the word cannibalise. This is a pre-written speech. It's not an off-the-cuff comment. Why use the word cannibalise? What are the values that Suella Braverman feels are being threatened by refugees? And what is the difference between talking like this and the kind of language that was used in 1930s Germany?